Hello folks, Wilfred Ninja here bringing you another nerdy video. This is a reactionary video to the latest announcement from Wildcard Studios. There is a countdown timer. I haven't been following ARK too much ever since I've been having some issues being able to do any videos. And again, it's obvious I haven't been able to do videos for a long while. But hopefully there's some home situations that are changing, so I'm hoping that will allow me to. Actually, I'm just going to get a bit more light here. There we go, a bit more light. And by the way, as you can see, unfortunately I did not find my mask, my original one, so I ordered a new one from Lama de Luce. It is a Ludo Sport mask with the symbols for each of the fighting forms. Like, there's my favourite, Makashi. But anyway, there'll be more Ludo Sport videos coming starting September, and I am going to Champions Arena, so I'll be bringing you more tournament footage from competitors from around the world. But anyway, back to the ARK. There was a countdown timer. I noticed it like when it had 1 day left, and it was something called Genesis. There are plenty of other dedicated ARK YouTubers that probably were able to decrypt and give you all this different type of news. I just recently saw the trailer. I bought the new season pass that they made, and I want to talk about some of the footage that we got with ARK, the announcement trailer. I watched the devs talk, and apparently an interesting thing is there's been one request that they kept getting since the start of ARK, which was a giant, massive turtle that you could build bases on. Like, give it a platform saddle. You can float on the top. It can go underwater. It will be slow on land, but still. Apparently, we're finally getting it, and they gave an explanation to why it was never introduced into the game until now. All the biomes, in their opinion, all the biomes that they released, the DLC, the official mod ones that they made, such as Center, Ragnarok, and Valguro, Scorched Earth, definitely not, Aberration and Extinction, and the Island. There was no biome that had deep enough water to have multiple of these type of creatures swimming around naturally. It's that big. I've seen about 2 images of it, and one image you can see like a megalodon in the background. Unfortunately, it is in the background, so it can't really function as a proper guide. However, what you do, however, see on this turtle, like, it's seemingly has 6 legs. It has possibly 6 eyes or 4 eyes from what I've seen. It seems to have grass growing on the back of it, so not only could you be able to build on this, it will have potential berries on it, so you could potentially sustain yourself. But on the top, there, from the image, unfortunately, as you can see, guys, I'm trying to do more videos around, in front of a camera instead of just screenshots. The house is definitely tree by potentially tree. It looks like it might be tree by tree. But that's not, the house does not encompass the entirety of the turtle shell, which is amazing. That means a tree by tree house can fit comfortably on this turtle, and apparently they've also talked about like exactly what could it do. Not only does it swim, there is an island in the background, so it's not a pure aquatic map, but it might have a whole bunch of small maps. And one of the main things you're going to be doing is like taming. But apparently, because of the vegetation that grows on this turtle, you'll be able to breed. That was their explanation. It creates like a bubble, so you can breed safely on it. Which I find, for one, I have a friend, Blue, who was really excited. Like, ever since we started playing ARK a few days ago, he just loves the idea of having tamed Carbonamus. I believe that's the pronunciation. I'm horrible with pronunciation, especially when it comes to the creatures in Ark. But he is really excited. He was always wanting to tame with them and whatnot. So he is over the moon. He was about this release. But okay. Also, there's some very interesting things. Like apparently we're getting a new robot companion that everyone gets on these new maps. And basically that robot is going to function as not only basically giving our job, like what we're supposed to be doing in terms of the story of Ark. Me and my friend Blue are trying to currently play through it. Once we collect the journal notes, I will be going over the story. I'm sure there's probably already videos that do that, but hey, I mostly do these videos partially for me as well. So I just like the idea of putting up videos. So anyway, so we're definitely getting one major water biome, but here's the thing: we're apparently going to be getting multiple ones. From the trailer, it seems like it takes place after the events of Extinction, and also here's the big news though from the developers. They were originally planning on having Extinction be the last DLC. It was supposed to be the last one. However, apparently they saw like how much love the community had for Ark, and because they're seeing the number of players in terms of like they're in the numbers of MMORPGs, like they're matching they're matching apparently those games, and apparently it's one of the top. Ark is one of the top sellers on Steam, and it's one of the top most played games apparently. So they're like, okay, so instead of doing this like a normal video game where we will release a few expansions and then move on to the next sequel game, instead apparently what they're going to try and do is treat it like an MMO. So they have the MMO, they have this game, and they're just going to keep periodically releasing expansions for it. And I know a few people, I talked to a few people, and they love that methodology. But anyway, first off, no implant. Your character does not have an implant, which I found amazing. But the robot is supposed to act as like our explorer notes for the next stage of story. The trailer kicks off with us, after Genesis, after Extinction, and instead of we're ascending apparently, or something like that, and we're seeing this holographic woman, which I'm guessing you see. I haven't finished Ark, so I don't know the story, but we see this sort of like holographic woman in the trailer, and she's like, "I can't go where you're going. I have to help other people, other survivors," which translation, other players. But she's going to make this robot companion with a bit of her essence in it, and and it's going to help you finish your preparations for the arrival. Then the robot comes to life. It speaks. It's a voice acted robot, so you're going to have this voice acted robot traveling with you. If you buy the season pass, you get like a beta version of it. It's going to be updated over time, obviously, as we get close. The DLC part 1 of Genesis comes out in winter 2019, so it's just a few months away. But apparently this robot is slowly going to get more advanced in terms of the season pass holders until we get the final version, which is most likely going to be in the DLC part 1. So this robot starts bringing you into what seems like simulations. You're not going on to Arks. That is clear. You're not going to Arks. This robot is simply changing the environment around you or teleporting you. I don't know which it is. I feel like it's a simulation or it's teleportation. I feel like it's simulation. It looks like a simulation. But anyway, she first brings you to what just looks like Mordor. It's a volcanic area with actual active volcanoes. So Ark has a couple of mountains that are supposed to be volcanoes. Even the center even has an island that has like a skull with lava in it that emits a cool glow at night. But they never had a volcano that would erupt, raining fire and ash. That apparently is going to be the case. We also saw a first glimpse of a creature that's supposed to be comparable to a T-Rex in terms of size and power. We see it not really much in the video, But apparently, like the devs talked about it. Apparently, it's like it can swim in lava. It generates heat. It can act as a furnace. A refining, sorry, no, not furnace. A refining forge. By just putting metal in it, it will eventually turn the metal into metal ingots, which I find hilarious. Then she brings you to. We don't see the aquatic area, so I can't give you much information on that. She then brings the survivor to an ice biome. Sorry, a snow biome and ice. And we see this cute little cuddly creature, which then is eating some element. Apparently, their bot, flies over it and starts to scan it. So that's where I'm thinking it's more. This leads to the teleportation theory, because why would she need to scan it if she created it? In terms of a simulation. But who knows? Maybe it is teleportation. But anyway, it eats some element apparently, which or something that was introduced in Extinction. And it then quickly mutates and grows into basically what I can say a furry Hulk with 4 arms. So, it's like if the Hulk was a werewolf and had 2 extra limbs. And apparently the devs were talking about, and it came up as a joke where you have this little furry creature on your shoulder. You would feed it element and then throw it at your opponent. Sort of like a Pokemon, I guess. And it would then grow and attack. And it's actually large enough for you to hop on its back or shoulders yourself and ride it. I'm really excited for Genesis. Also, another thing we saw. We don't have the chip in our cells anymore, so I'm wondering how we're going to access our inventory, because for a lot of the time, every single time we interact with something, our character would, bring up his chip. So I'm wondering how that's going to work now. But instead, what we saw was tech gloves. Now, the survivor was seemingly not wearing tech armor. He was not wearing tech armor. He was just pants, shirtless. That's it. And he just goes zoom, like Wolverine claws, but made of energy. And he just runs at it, and that's where the trailer ends. So I don't know what's going on. Apparently, again, this might lead. As I said, I've yet to finish. I once actually finished the island once, but that was way, way back, in the extreme early days of Ark. And at the time, I wasn't really paying too much attention to the terminals and the lore that was going on around me. I certainly did not find all the Explorer notes, which is why me and my friend Blue were like, oh no, there's apparently a huge story that's ongoing, and we're curious about it. So we started playing Ark. We both got the Game of the Year editions on Steam. So we have all the DLC, and we're like, okay, we're going to set up a base first, make sure it's really reliant and self-reliant so that we don't have to worry about, ever having to restart technically the game all over again. So we're also gearing up. We also want to gear up with the strongest equipment before we start looking for Explorer notes. So we're gearing up to explore the jungles, get into Explorer notes, and just as I said, I will be doing a video series when I do eventually get all the Explorer notes, just to talk about them. Some of them are very interesting. The dossiers are fun to read, and I like looking at the pictures. I'll definitely be, when I do that video, I won't be in the camera. I'll be doing screenshots so you guys can see, obviously for yourselves. I'll definitely I'll probably would use some command codes to mess around on some of these new maps for some videos later. But I won't be doing anything in terms of exploring into the lore and all that, because I do want to discover that with my friends. So I definitely will be not touching on that, because we're really determined to play this game in order, and it's going to take us so long. Anyone who plays Ark, you guys know we're not going to finish the islands and finish the others, while finding all the Explorer notes, because we're not looking them up. We plan to play this game legitly. So we're not going to look up the locations of the Explorer notes. We're just going to be like, okay, let's gear up, get some weapons, get some dinos, and let's go. Right now, I'm trying to, I'm planning on preparing to go down into the caves to get us some dung beetles, so we can have renewable oil, which will give us gasoline to power our metal stuff. So we're still in the early stages. But yeah, I'll be definitely doing some live streams of Genesis. Like it's just oh wow, like Arc Wildcard Studios. I love their company. Like I've seen, like I've followed and read the stories where Player Unknown, the makers of PUBG, like I paid attention to the stories that showed that like they let their success of their game basically go to their head. They've they didn't invest the money back into the game. And then again, it just became a whole shit show. And then there was, remember, even a few months ago, I think it was last year at most, they were even trying to sue the makers of Battle Royale, Fortnite. They tried to sue them, or at least get them to not continue updating their Battle Royale. And I'm not a big fan of Battle Royale modes because some developers came out and pointed out that like it's a very cheap game to make. As the developers started doing this because of Ting, but because some games were trying to charge money for a Battle Royale game, whereas most of them are free because of how cheap they are to make. But basically, PUBG, like, they always put the money back into their advertisements, trying to host events. Like, I have friends who played PUBG, like, even after years of its was release, and they're like, it's still glitchy as hell. Like, there's no improvement, and they have microtransactions. But apparently, they put all the money into the advertisements and whatnot, which is why I don't see many people playing PUBG as much as in terms of Fortnite and other Battle Royale games, because the developers put money into those games and they make them. So that's the only thing I have to respect in terms of Fortnite. Even though they did abandon their earliest promises with early access. Dear God, that was a nightmare. But anyway, but whereas what Wildcard Studios, all the money that, like, okay, there was some scandal. Like, I have some friends who hate how the season passes and the game itself, they increased in price as time went on. And the reason for that was because in early access, it was when I got it for the very first time, it was €20, but it had very little content in the game. It had like only a few dinos, and then that was it. But then Wildcard Studios, whatever money they got, they kept putting back into the game, kept developing it, kept polishing it, kept adding dinos, kept adding features and all that. So basically, they kept adding content for free, like as free updates for people who already had it. But to sort of balance that out, they had to, for new people getting into the game, the price increased to it. I think it's now €50. I can't see any of the prices because everywhere I look, I already have the game. It will just come up, it's already installed. I have a boat on PC and Xbox. And so they upped the price. I think it's again about €50. And oh well, I'm seeing some fake videos. My friend bought it on things, and it was only like $35. But apparently someone posted a picture saying like, "Oh, it's $52." No, it's not. But anyway, so. But yeah, they kept investing in the game, so they did up in price, and the same thing happened with Season Pass. Mind you do get a discount on the Season Pass depending on how much of the content did you buy individually. So if you were buying the Season Pass and you have none of the DLC, it is substantially more expensive compared to someone who has two of the expansions. Well, sorry, one of the expansions, but missing the other two. So again, there's a bit of a weird sort of scaling system. And again, the Season Passes also get more expensive as they add stuff to it. For example, the first Season Pass wasn't too expensive, but then the second DLC came out, it upped the price a little bit. Then the third DLC came out and they upped the price a little bit. Now, it's still cheaper to buy the Season Pass as opposed to buying the DLCs individually, but they do up the price with each one. And they did announce that the same thing is going to happen with Genesis. The current price of Genesis is basically the equivalent of the one map. It's apparently the equivalent of the one map. So basically, we're going to get 3 biomes. we're going to get there's two parts to the season pass that we know of so far. Remember, Extinction wasn't originally planned. There was only supposed to be Aberration and Scorched Earth, but then Extinction happened. So yeah, the Wildcard Studios could suddenly be like, oh yeah, no, there's going to be 4 parts to it. So so for anyone who's watching this video, if you're a big fan of Ark and you're thinking of getting the season pass, get it as soon as possible. Like, and again, I feel like some games may start doing this type of approach as well in the future. So if you were planning getting a season pass for a game, get it as soon as possible. Otherwise, you may run the risk of it getting slowly more expensive. But yeah, as I said, but the thing is that my main point is, Wildcard Studios has always put their money back into the game, which is so good, and I love Ark. I think they boasted on Steam, like, oh, you'll have like 90 something hours of gameplay with each map. What was it? I think it was 900 hours. Let me just double check here. Let's see if I can see it on Ark. Here we go. Okay, actually no, the core game itself is on sale, and it's normally €55. But the Explorers Edition with some cosmetic stuff and the season pass is €95, but it's €56 at the moment. Does the Explorers know? I wonder if it comes with the new season pass. No, it's only the first season pass. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Combining the base game with 3 massive expansion packs, Ark Survival Evolved Explorers Edition is the ultimate way to get with more dinosaur action. Explorers Edition gives you access to the mega hit Ark Survival Evolved, as well as the Scorched Earth available now, Aberration available now, and Extinction coming in 2018 expansion packs, adding nearly 900 hours of gameplay. Okay, so apparently they're saying that the 3 new maps are 900 hours of gameplay. I'm going to call bullshit. And that's only because I truly believe there is way more than 900 hours. Like, me and my friends have been playing it. Like, we're 3 people working together, playing the game. We've been playing it pretty much nearly constantly for a couple of days. There was an exception with yesterday because I had 2 back-to-back D&D games. But one of my players, my friend Blue, was mining resources in the background as we were playing, so it didn't distract him, luckily enough. But so we've been playing this basically a lot for the past. How many hours do I have on the game actually? Let's take a look at that actually, because Steam tells you we've played a total of 114 hours. 114. And we have not attempted to be... we have access to the metal stuff. But in terms of building up our base and taming dinos, gathering resources, like... and this is only on the island. So... and if I remember correctly, when we transfer stuff, I think we keep our levels, but we're going to be starting off with no resources again when we switch now over to Scorched Earth. I think. So yeah, Ark is definitely it's a bit of a time sink game, but what game isn't nowadays? But it's basically you're going to get your money's worth in terms of gameplay. Like, if you like survival games and games where you just play and it will take you a long time to play, like, basically if you're looking for a game that will take you a long time to complete, Ark is definitely the game for you. It plays like an MMO in terms of, like, how if you go on the online servers, but at the same time, there's no subscription, it's a single payment, and then that's it. But yeah, dear God, 114 hours, and we're still prepping to go after the first Guardian. Wow, dear God. Like, we tried having the Spinosaurus last night, Didn't go well. We accidentally killed him. But we tamed two pterodons. That's something. I'm about to go on an expedition to the cold. But anyway, let's see, what else can I say about Genesis in general, though? I don't know. I feel like I covered everything about Genesis. The turtle, the aquatic biome. That is, I'm actually really excited about the aquatic biome, just because, for one, it's supposed, like, and I'm assuming it's an aquatic biome. I might be wrong. It might just have really deep waters. I'm hoping it's, as I said, a large biome with lots of smaller islands. So there's no, like, big central mainland, I'm hoping for that. I'm also, like, each one, I'm guessing, is going to add a whole new element of survival difficulty to the game. Sort of like with Extinction. No, not Extinction, Scorched Earth, because I did play it on Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is very different than some of the other games, because, okay, Aberration has its little earthquakes, but they drop supplies from the ceiling, from rocks, like, with that. I haven't played on Extinction at all, so I have no idea about Extinction, what that added as a survival thing. But with Scorched Earth, that was a big change, because you have water, you have sandstorms, it's the constant intense heat. So each of these new biomes, I'm looking forward to seeing how they change the meta for survival. So I'm like, with the volcanic one, that's going to probably be a bit like Extinction. No, sorry, not Extinction. Like Scorched Earth, where you're dealing with intense heat, so you need to constantly make sure you find a source of water, keep yourself hydrated, and you need to build structures that allow heat to escape. If you build like a stone structure or a metal structure, you're going to cook yourself in your own base. And then you have maybe then the aquatic place with that, the place with the turtle. That might have an interesting dynamic, because the resources are either underwater or far off on other islands. Like, you can't just sustain yourself on one area. Like our base right now is near the beach, and we're very sustainable. We have easy access to stone, metal, crystal, even because of the pterodons. We have easy access to a mountain peak nearby that we can go get metal and crystal for. So like we have easy access to thatched berry and wood, so we're sorted in terms of that. So that's gonna be we can stay there with one base. Whereas the resources will respawn. Whereas with that, I feel like the islands might be too small. So if you build a base on it, you will eventually run out of resources. So you're going to have to start like getting aquatic dinos, or making more use of the rafts to go to smaller islands, to go to other islands, gather resources, and bring them back. We might see something like that. Which then, like, again, theirs might have a whole new bunch of aquatic dinos or aquatic creatures that will attack the raft as well. So that's going to be a new element of surprise. That they could do with the water one. Then we have the winter biome, or at least the cold biome, however you would call it. That is going to be similar to Scorched Earth, but it's going to be very similar to trying to survive early game in the Arctic area of the island, where your character is going to slowly freeze to death if you don't quickly get up to stone tier technology. I think stone will provides good installation against the cold. I'm not too sure. You might need actually to get up to metal. I'm currently heading up there in stone myself, so here's hoping. Because I'm going on an organic polymer run using a raft. But we built like a base raft, so that's why I'm enclosed in a stone thing. So again, that's gonna be very interesting to deal with. It's like, again, as I said, I'm just looking forward to Genesis. I love every trailer I watch for Ark gets me hyped to play the game. I love the live action trailer as well for Extinction. I do like the gameplay trailers. I do like them as well, but I just love the live action trailer for that. And that's the frustrating thing is I never had anyone to play Ark with. I've always had to play by myself. But my friends have other games, so they ask me, "Hey Jason, do you want to play this?" Blah 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 blah. So I go. I'm like, "Sure, I'll go play that." So I never get a chance to play Ark that much. But now I have 3 friends who love to play Ark, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we're running our own server so that we don't have to be tethered to one another." So there's that. Mind you, that we're synthetically recreating an event that's ongoing in Ark this weekend. So we're playing it as vanilla as we can, but we are going to use we're going to look at the events that's ongoing and try and recreate them. For example, there's a times 4 tame, times 4 harvest, and times 2 XP. So we basically, my friend went into the server settings and set them up as well. So we're basically doing the same things that the official servers are doing. We're not sure how we were not going to be able to recreate like the Dodo Rex or anything, unfortunately, or the Easter egg stuff or the Halloween event. We're not going to be able to recreate them, but like we can definitely do the XP and harvest stuff. Otherwise, we're only playing with one mod, which adds like a stat bar to your stuff, so it's much easier to read. Which comes with its own drawbacks. It doesn't, for some reason, we now cannot read the dinos needs, so we don't know if our dino is injured or if it's thirsty or has low stamina. Guys, that's all I can say about Genesis. I literally cannot theorize anything else because I don't know the story of Ark. I only have the trailer to go off of. I'm sure there are some hints in the trailer. It's just I don't know them. So, I'm looking forward to playing on some Genesis. I'm not going to do a dedicated Let's Play series of Genesis, just because with Ark, I can't commit to playing multiple Ark things. So I'm going to focus just playing with my friends and maybe do an occasional video, messing around on some of the new maps and whatnot. I'm hoping that I'm going to be getting back, hopefully, into some of my D&D broadcasts. Might be starting up like I'm trying to think of a discussion series I can do. I have no fun stories to tell you much because it's the summer. A lot of my friends are going on holidays, so we can't really. There are times where we can't even play any of our D&D games. For example, we haven't been able to play the Star Wars game for a while. But mind you, as I said, I'm not doing that series anymore. I got flagged by Disney way too many times, so it's just not worth. It's not worth doing the Star Wars D&D game series anymore. Sorry, we're still playing it. We're just not going to be streaming it anymore. It's too much of a hassle. The Lunar Guard will hopefully be back soon. As I said, on the first Tuesday of September, I'll be back with Ludo Sport videos. I'm hoping to get a nice surprise at the end of the month. Hopefully, at the end of the month. But as of now, it looks like it'll be on the 3rd of September. That I'll be back with Ludo Sport videos. I am going to try and get some more videos out there. I recently got Fallout. I got Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition on PC, so maybe I'll do some videos on that. Oh, I did not want to launch it. My mouse has been double clicking lately. It's a bit unfortunate. I got Division 2. I might do some videos on Division 2. I have the Game of the Year edition of Division 2, so I have all the year will pass. Yeah. But for now, this is Wilfred Ninja signing out. May the force be with you, and remember, roll for initiative.